And welcome to D.D.F Footie Chat. My name's Nick and I will be your host for this evening's little topics of conversation. So firstly, we do have some other people that you can see right here. So if I go to my left, Matt, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, my name's Matt. I'm the Arsenal fan of the group. That's it, really.
Yeah. So obviously somebody needs to be an Arsenal fan because, you know, they're all overhyped and things like that at the moment. So we thought we'd get a little Arsenal representation going on here. And then if we go down to the bottom of Thomas.
Hi, my name is Tom. I am the Leicester fan of the group. And I'm glad I've been invited to have a chat. It's good to have a Leicester fan in the group, right? Bit of variety.
Yeah, obviously.
Bit unpredictable.
Yeah, absolutely unpredictable. A certain rarity, you know.
Not where I'm from, but yeah.
Well, you know, obviously. You just don't have as much of a wide fan group as, you know, United. I would say Arsenal, but you've kind of like lost the fans, a lot of fans over the recent years. Anyway, okay, so this is clearly a brand new channel. This is our very first podcast that is coming your way. So we would really appreciate it for any engagement, your likes, your comments, your subscriptions, all of that jazz. I'm sure I don't need to tell you how to use YouTube. So here we go. So basically the format of today is we're just going to be having a general chit chat about all things football related. So if we start thinking about kind of like the genericism, that's probably not even a word, but just like the generic football, actually. Yeah. I've only got a couple of masters and all that. But yeah, just like everything that's gone on within the weekend, have there been any shocks or anything like that for you guys?
I would say the weekend probably went as I thought it was going to go. Not as I hoped it was going to go. Seriously hoped with every fibre of my being that Arsenal could pull something off against Liverpool, but I didn't think it was going to happen. Manchester United losing to Watford, I've got to say I wasn't expecting it to happen, but as things have been going with that, I wasn't shocked necessarily that it happened. Maybe a 4-1, but yeah. You, Tom?
Yeah, I was shocked. I was shocked Watford beat Man U 4-1. I mean, I thought Ole would galvanise the players. You know, they're thinking, let's do it for him. And I was a bit surprised that they really got smashed. And I wasn't surprised Leicester lost to Chelsea 3-0. Chelsea the better side. I was a bit surprised when he give them a bit more fight at home. I thought bring them to our fortress. We'll show them what for, but didn't quite pan out that way. So all three of us, I suppose, were a little bit miffed at the moment. Yeah. A little bit down.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride this last kind of 24 hours. I've gone from sort of sheer anger and frustration to almost maybe like sheer jubilation when I kind of found out that Ole was getting sacked, and then it kind of really set in that he was getting sacked, and I felt really, really down as well because, you know, I really wanted him to succeed. I really wanted him to kind of like go all the way, bring back that feel-good factor. And to some extent, he's done that. He brought that feel-good factor back, you know, and it's been quite harmonious within the camp. But I think at the same time, that's kind of gone against him as well. So yeah, it's you know, I'm just gutted, to be honest. And I'm a little bit apprehensive about kind of like who's going to kind of come in next to steady the ship and all of that rubbish, really. So kind of as we're talking about Ole, and you know, we've spoken a bit about Watford beating United. Let's go straight into that game. So if I kind of just like talk about it from my perspective. So I went into the game obviously clearly wanting to win. You know, I never try and bet against my team or anything like that. I always have that hope and that desire that we're gonna pull something off, because, you know, we've got those individual players that can just spark at any moment. But under Ole, that seems to have been what it's all been about. You know, it's just been, he's been relying on certain moments, certain players to do something. I mean, if you really think about it, had it not been for Ronaldo this season, where would we actually be? Like, I'm talking, we potentially would be in the bottom three. That's how serious it has actually been. And if you look at kind of like just the drop off from last season, we finished second. And although maybe that was not an accurate representation of how the season went last season, we still finished second. So how we've gone from being up there to suddenly just dropping and diving, I'll never know. But the whole performance from start to finish was terrible. In the second half, there was a bit more of a spark. Ronaldo started to kind of like take it upon himself to do something. The introduction of Van der Beek clearly did something, gets a goal. He almost got an assist for Ronaldo. Sancho finally gets given an opportunity to play out on the right with a strong right side with him, with Van der Beek and Wan-Bissaka there, and he starts doing bits, He put a ball in for Ronaldo. Ronaldo heads it down. Van der Beek puts it in. But then Maguire, man, don't even get me started on him. Like Maguire, I love him. I love Maguire. I think he's got all of the qualities to be a top centre-back. But this season, I don't know what it is. I genuinely feel like the pressure is getting too much for him in terms of being the captain. Like, he's doing it for England, but he's not the captain. Yeah, he can just focus on his game and himself. I feel like that's what needs to happen with from a United point of view. He needs to pass on that captaincy, just focus on himself and playing, and just settle down. But all credit to Watford and Ranieri. They outdid us, they outplayed us, they wanted it more. And then obviously kind of Ole going as well, which I'll touch upon a little bit later. But yeah, I was just really, really frustrated and angry yesterday. What did you guys make of it?
Okay, well, my main point from the game is De Gea. See, De Gea had a good game, you might say. He saved 2 penalties in a row and kept you in the game for that first period, because that could have been terrible to concede that early. But every single goal, I think he was beaten way too early. Way too easy. Like, 2 of them were on his near post. And I think every single one of them, he got a touch on, but it just went straight through him. So I'd say he needs to be better. And I think if he had had a stronger hand on every single one of them shots and a bit more confidence within himself, because obviously the team wasn't performing either, he would have saved every single one of them.
Matt, would Ramsdale have saved them?
Good question. I think he would have potentially saved them, but Ramsdale also let in 4 goals, so we can't start singing his praises too much.
I think just on De Gea, for me, he's been our player of the season so far, and he's not been. No, I can't say that he's not been in that good a form, because I think he's showing like almost that world-class ability that he's had for the last 10 years. But like you said, he has been beaten too easily at times. At times, he's not had a big enough or a strong enough like right or left hand.
Mm-hmm.
Certain things where he's parried things and they've gone into the net. And so, yeah, I was a bit frustrated with kind of how easily the goals were going in yesterday. But at the same time, if the defence was more solid,
it
shouldn't be coming in.
Of course, yeah. It's not just on him. Obviously, Maguire. What's it? Maguire.
Man.
Didn't do himself any favours yesterday. I mean,
and then I swear, I swear in the Liverpool Arsenal game, Klopp did that celebration. I don't know whether it was Maguire. Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. And also, United didn't have a single attack in the first half. No. And Watford seemed to be all over you. Van der Beek, like you said, came on. Maybe whoever's in charge is going to be Carrick and Fletcher for the next few games. Coming to actually, where's the game? Is that Old Trafford?
It's out
against Arsenal. Yeah.
Well. No. Hang on. We're playing Chelsea at home, and then I think we're playing you at the Emirates.
Should have done our research beforehand, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
I will find that out.
Well, do you know a player that really got my attention from that Man U Watford game was Bruno Fernandes. I mean, I was obsessed with him in my fantasy league last year. I mean, he was just the bomb.
Last year
it seems like Yeah, I mean, you'd have thought Ronaldo coming into the side, you'd have thought, whoa, Bruno Fernandes. I know they might have a bit of conflict a little bit for that space, and they might contend for that space a little bit. But I was like, he made that dodgy back pass, which led to the goal. He missed quite an easy shot. You're thinking last season, he's going to finish these all day long. So what do you think's going on, Nick? What's going on with Bruno Fernandes, do you think?
I think for me, again, it comes down to the coaching. If you've got a player like Fernandes who wants to literally do absolutely everything. So the guy is pressing, the guy is literally sprinting around the field. He's not conserving his energy, all of that. That's a coaching issue. Because a strong coach would be saying, right, Bruno, you are going to sort of like operate in this central position, get forward to attack, obviously drop back a little bit, but just hold off. Don't be sprinting around. If you're pressing by yourself, that is leaving a gap for the opposition. Yeah. So you either press together or you don't press at all. So I think for me, there's a coaching issue there. That communication hasn't been there. So Fernandes has almost been like trying to, I think he's been working really, really hard. I think he's been trying too much and he's letting himself down a little bit. However, statistically, his outputs are still way up there. They are still way up there. Had it not been for the creation of Bruno Fernandes, Ronaldo wouldn't be getting the chances that he's getting. Ronaldo wouldn't be getting the goals that he's getting. Bruno is that sort of like talismanic figure, just like Ronaldo, but something's not quite clicking at the moment. And I'm really hoping that this next interim kind of manager that comes in is really going to be able to coach him and say, listen, this is your role, stick to it. Stop trying to control absolutely everything.
Mm-hmm. So there's a thing, right? This one little discussion I wanted to have is this whole interim thing. So from what I've heard and read is that Manchester United aren't looking to appoint a permanent manager until the start of next season or the end of this season going into next season. So what do you personally think of that as a Manchester United fan?
I think it's farcical. I think the way that our club is run, as I've said many, many times, before we started this, it's just our club is not a football club anymore. It's a cash cow. It's a business. The board, Ed Woodward, Richard Arnold, the Glazers, they're bankers. They make their living through money, doing whatever they can to generate as much profit as possible to take out the club. And yes, they'll put some money back in to appease the fans. They'll make great signings and all of that, but they're not football people. They have no idea what they're doing. And they always planned, in my opinion, was that they were just going to try and ride this storm with Solskjaer. They were going to see him through until... So essentially, Solskjaer was almost like the interim manager anyway, okay? Because they were always going to sack him, but they had no plan. So they kind of changed him from, maybe just like internally, they changed him from being the permanent manager to the interim manager, get through to the end of season. Goodbye, Solskjaer. Thanks for everything you've done. And then get on who that they wanted. But then the Watford defeat has just like exasperated everything, and they've just thought, we better act now. We're getting a lot of hate on social media. We want to protect our look. We want to keep the shareholders happy, all of that sort of stuff. So they've acted now without a plan, and therefore they're saying we're going to stick with Carrick and Fletcher, Mike Phelan and Kieran McKenna, and see how that goes until we can find someone more permanent. But if you really look at this, McKenna and Carrick were both with Jose Mourinho, okay?
Right, yeah.
They failed. They've both been with Solskjaer. Solskjaer has failed. Surely there is a problem in the coaching setup. Well, they both need to be moving on. So what I'm really worried about is if Carrick has a fantastic few games and then they think, do you know what? He's now the interim manager. And then he does really well as the interim manager. And then it gets to the end of the season and go, Carrick, you've done so well. We think that you're great. You represent what this club's all about. This is my American accent. You represent what the club's all about. You've got that United DNA. And then they're like, we want to give you the position. And then he's like, why, aye, man, absolutely. And so, and that's what I'm really, really worried about.
I wouldn't worry. It's not going to happen.
Hey, but you could have said that about Solskjaer. Yeah, you could have said that about Solskjaer. All it takes is that bounce. He beats Chelsea, beats Arsenal, gets through the Champions League group, maybe gets to the quarterfinals or something before an interim's found, and they say, well, you've not lost the game, we'll give it to you. And then it's just we're back on that conveyor belt of ridiculousness. So
yeah, even if he does well, or they, or whatever you call it, because is it just him or is it a group effort?
They've said that Carrick is the guy for now, but I still think it's Fletcher.
Well, even if he does well, next season you're going to have a new experienced manager. And quick fire round. Who's it going to be? I'm personally saying Zidane might come for the job.
Nah, mate, I've given up on Zidane. I just don't see it happening. I genuinely feel that Zidane is waiting for that PSG job, or he's waiting for the France national team job. And what I've seen on social media is, United still have the love of Pochettino. They really want him. And I'm thinking they're going to find an interim manager until the end of the season. They're going to make that call to Poch and say, hey, man, you've not done so well in France. Come on over to United. We got Ronaldo. And
we got Ronaldo.
And then Poch is going to be like, oh, yes, I'm going to come along. And then he signs on that dotted line. Okay. My choice would be the Ajax manager, Erik ten Hag. I think that he plays some beautiful stuff. He knows all about Donny van de Beek. There's a chance perhaps that he might bring Frenkie de Jong from Barcelona into the United midfield as well. So he would be my ideal choice. But I still think overall we're going to end up with Brendan Rodgers. And man.
Don't crush Tom like that.
All right, okay, yeah. I've been through a lot about thinking about Brendan Rodgers potentially leaving the club. I've been through a lot. But my thoughts are Man United at the moment, they can't afford to make a risk, I don't think. No. I mean, they've made a lot of risks with a few of the managers recently, and they need someone that's going to get them results, get them cups, get them Premier Leagues, get them Champions Leagues. And I think out of all of them, the only person that's shown they can do that is Zidane. I mean, Brendan Rodgers, yeah, he's a brilliant manager. He's turned our club around big time and won the FA Cup. But are Man U, are the board, are the owners, are they sure he's going to come and do that? Zidane, are they sure? I reckon.
I don't
probably more.
I don't think the board are sure about what their own names are, if I'm true. Like, they're that incompetent, okay? So I think that they'll see, oh, Rodgers, he almost won a Premier League with Liverpool, and we've got a better team than Liverpool. So, I think that's the sort of rationale that they'll use. They'll think, oh, Pochettino, I love him so much. Let's take him in. And so, to be honest, I think that they operate on risk. They're like, oh, well, we've got a good enough PR department. We'll put a good spin on it, and that will be fine. My choice is Erik ten Hag. I think we'll get Pochettino or Brendan Rodgers. So, it is what it is, unfortunately. However, I hope that we, on social media, we keep on kicking up a storm. We keep on saying, like, this is what we want. We demand better than this. And they actually, they use this time in between now and getting the permanent manager to really assess all of the options, look at them as proper candidates and say, let's not just go for the cheapest. Let's not just go for the safe option. Perhaps let's take a risk on someone unproven, such as Erik ten Hag. I saw a statistic that, I know it's only the Eredivisie, the Dutch league, but his team, Ajax, have scored like 406 goals in 167 games. That is an insane return. That is an absolute insane return. So he's all about that attacking, free-flowing football. And I'm all for it. But whether that's going to happen, I think is more of just a dream. Same with Zidane. Apparently, the biggest thing about Zidane is that his wife don't want to live in Manchester. I mean, I'm not, I can't blame her.
It's not bad, Trafford Centre is a good place. Shop.
Yeah, but you go from sort of like the Padlock Bridge in Paris and the Eiffel Tower to the Trafford Centre. It's like in the evening you're on one of those sort of like little ferries eating snails. Mm-hmm. By the morning you're eating a burger in the Trafford Centre. You can't really compare the two.
I'd rather eat a burger in the Trafford Centre than snails.
Me too. But so I think that's our current situation. I'm just confused. I've given up all hope, to be honest. But I still love my club, and that's the main thing.
Okay, I got a question for you, Nick.
Yeah.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, club legend.
He is.
He came to the club, and I think he did turn things around for a while, didn't he? He brought some excitement. How will he be remembered, do you think? Will he be remembered as a club legend? Still, I'm sure he's always a club legend. I mean, he's done enough to secure that. Will his managerial time, will it have tainted his legacy, do you think?
Nah, definitely not. I mean, he will always be the babyface assassin. Yeah, he'll always be that guy. He'll always be the guy that we know for the 1999 Champions League final, and Solskjaer has won it. You know, we'll always remember him for that. He played such a pivotal role in all of our championship winning seasons. So he'll always be that guy. And even during his managerial reign, there has still been some epic moments. Go into Paris and win the way that he did in the last minute, you know, that was sensational. Obviously getting us to the Europa League final. I know it's the Europa League and that, but still getting us to a European final. Obviously, you know, we cock it up at the end, but he got us there. Beating Man City so many times. Guardiola came out today and said, you know, wish him all the best. He beat me more than what I would have wanted him to, all of that stuff. So I think that he did a really, really good job. And really, he was up there taking on some of the best managers, but he's fallen short. I think he was too stubborn, but it certainly will not change his status as a legend of this club. And anyone that thinks that this blip that we've been through in regards to his final season with us thinks that it's going to taint his legendary status, to me, you're not a real United fan, in my opinion. You know, you cannot look at this isolated period and say the last 26 years he's done nothing, because that guy, without him, we wouldn't have some of the success that we've had.
Get him a statue outside.
Get him a statue. Put it there, you know, holding hands with Fergie, you know, all of that sort of jazz. So yeah, Ollie, and I watched it. He had an interview done today, just kind of like clarifying.
I just saw it before we came on.
I was heartbroken, and then he like tears up at the end, and I'm like, oh man, I'm literally bawling right now. Yeah. So yeah, it played on.
He only teared up when he was talking about Michael Carrick.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they might have something going on there.
No. Well, you never know. It's to their own. Yeah. So, but no, I genuinely feel like he you know, he started to tear up and stuff because he was like, you know, he's just a fan of the club at the end of the day. You know, he's a legend. He's a fan of the club. He wants what's best for us. He knows that it's his time to part. He said his goodbyes, but he's still going to be coming back to Old Trafford, and he'll be welcomed back with open arms. He'll be welcomed back with Ali, Ali, Ali. You know, all of that stuff. Yeah, it's nice to close this chapter now, but who knows what's on the horizon? Is it going to be positive? No idea.
I hope he gets a job at another Premier League club and beats you at Old Trafford.
Mate, do you know what? If that happens, I'll be like, all hail Ollie. Yeah. Yeah. So let's see what happens. But I don't think he'll get another job in the Premier League. I think he's going to wait for the Norway job to open up. I think he'll make a decent international coach, to be honest, when he's got players like Haaland and stuff like that. I think. Well,
I mean, they need sorting out because they're missing out on another tournament.
Certainly do. So that's enough about United and Ollie. Let's move on to Leicester, Chelsea. Okay, Tom, from your perspective, how was it?
I think it was disappointing because I thought we beating Man U. I thought we were over something. I thought we would turn a page. I thought our season was going to turn around. I don't think it is, and I live in fear. Because whenever Leicester concede a corner, I'm like, what's going to happen now? Oh, it's a corner. And we've been so bad at corners recently. So I think we're not too great at defending set pieces, corners. We're not great at, you know, delivering set pieces, corners, but we're not moving the ball around quick enough. We're not pinging it around like we know we can do. Our midfield got absolutely bossed around today. Yesterday, Jorginho, Conte just bossed us. Just get in the pockets of space behind our centre halves, and that's what led to Conte's goal. So I think from a Leicester fan's point of view, I don't think there's enough aggression in our side. We played Leeds last week, and they destroyed us, like aggression-wise. I was like, oh, thank you so much, it's a draw. I didn't think I'd ever say that against Leeds, you know. So, I mean, I don't know where Leicester are at. I think we're still good enough to finish top four. I'm very optimistic, but things need to change. I mean, a back three against a Chelsea, I'd have liked to have seen a back four. For sure.
Yeah, it seemed like Rodgers tried to match Chelsea up sort of like man for man, formation for formation. I mean, with the current form that Leicester are in, can they really be considered a top 6 club? But even forgetting top 4, but even a top 6 club.
The current form, I think so.
Really?
Yeah, I do think so. I do think we'll turn it around for sure. I'm really, really, really positive about it. I think we've got the players. I think we've got a few injuries. Fofana's coming back end of December. Yes, Fofana, please come back to our defence. Please come back. Help us with these corners. Kasper Schmeichel, I've heard some things recently about Kasper Schmeichel. I've heard some fans saying they should try Ward out. I like Ward as a goalkeeper, right? I think he's great. He's played some good games for Wales. He plays great in the League Cup. I went to see him say some great stuff at Brighton in the League Cup, penalty-wise. But, I mean, Kasper Schmeichel is a world-class shot stopper. Mate. And yeah, I mean, at times he could maybe on a corner, he could run out, punch it out, give some relief to the defenders. Don't get me wrong, his distribution at times could improve, but please, Kasper Schmeichel is a top player.
Yeah, but Kasper Schmeichel, yeah, but he's not been the same since his dad preferred Ramsdale.
You think that's what it was? Like some kind of social media message, and he saw that and thought, "Oh no."
Yeah,
my dad hates me.
My dad
never liked me.
Yeah. But I mean, Schmeichel, yeah, you can't knock the guy. He's a brilliant keeper. Time will come where you'll have to look elsewhere. But yeah, nobody's kicking Schmeichel out of that team until I think he probably calls it a day. He's good enough to stay at Leicester for a few more years, I'm sure. I'm not sure how long he's got left on his contract, but I think he'll stay at Leicester till he retires, to be honest.
Yeah, and he's our captain. I mean, he knows everyone so well. He's been there since, 2010, 2011? Around that time. He's been there so long. Like, he knows what's what. He knows who's who. He sorts things out. He's a strong leader, personality. Who's who the players turn to, I think. So, Kasper's in a leader's back. He's in a lead captain our side, top 4 this season. You just watch.
Listen,
we've got a few of our. Don't get me wrong, right? A few of our top players have not started too well. Like Maddison didn't start too well. Maddison has shown he can turn it around. He's shown he's I think he's on the rise again. Barnes, he's shown from the Leeds games on the rise again. I think we do need to tweak the system a little bit, the structure of the side. But these, pardon?
Drop Vardy.
Oh, I don't think so. Not for a while. I think Vardy's got a lot of life in him yet. I think he needs
how is Patson Daka scoring 4 goals in the Europa League and still sitting on the bench?
I think Patson Daka understands. I think he respects Vardy. He understands what Vardy can deliver. What Vardy can do.
Starts scoring some goals again and getting the FPL teams, FPL points. Then but I think something needs to change, and I think it might be a change up front.
Yeah. No, I
maybe see how Vardy does in the next game. If he still isn't scoring, I think something needs to give him a kick up that side, and that might be getting dropped for a game. See how Daka does up front, and then if it doesn't work out, bring Vardy on. See if he can come on with that, a bit of pace coming out for another 30 minutes at the end of the game. See how he can do then as a substitute role, because he's still got the pace, even considering he's getting on a bit. But I don't know. I just think maybe that's what's missing is just you don't want to know that your role in the team is given just because of your legacy. Vardy has an excellent legacy, but it shouldn't mean that he's straight into that first 11, especially when you've got a player as talented as Patson Daka on the bench.
Yeah, you for me, Daka's sensational. Okay, he's brilliant. The guy is absolutely rapid. He can score with both feet. He's got brilliant movement. If anything, he's a younger Vardy. You know, he plays on that last man and he can get in there. You cannot say that he can go from scoring 4 goals to then suddenly accepting that his position is just on the bench. If you've got that mindset as a professional footballer, you ain't going any further than your current situation. Yeah, you should be pushing Vardy every step of the way. You should be banging on Brendan Rodgers' door and saying, Vardy hasn't scored for 5 or 6 games. I've just banged in 4 goals and you put me on the bench again. What is your...
Well, come on, because when he scored 4 goals, Vardy was still in the goals in the Premier League. I mean, Vardy scored, he's the 3rd highest goal scorer in the Premiership this season so far. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it was like he'd gone with 1 game without a goal at that point. So who was to know at that point? But I do really think that Vardy, I think he fits the gameplay really well still. And I think there's a lot of moving pieces that have to do a lot of cogs in the machine that have to do their part for Vardy to be really on fire, you know, really ticking. And I think it fixed a few problems in defence, fixed a few problems, you know, midfield. And I think Vardy he can still deliver. I think he still will deliver. It's like Cristiano Ronaldo, perfect example, right? Why is he not delivering? Is he not still a world-class player? He is a world-class player, I think, but what do you think? Do you think it's a good parallel between him not delivering and Vardy not delivering?
No, because United, okay, we've had a crap coach, okay, for these last few months. Well, for the last 3 years, we've not been coached right. Brendan Rodgers has been seen to be up there with some of the elite managers. He should be able to get it out of Vardy. He should know what's going wrong and what's going right. So in regards to Ronaldo can literally pull it out of the bag like that. Vardy can't. Vardy cannot pull it out of the bag like that. Maybe a few years ago he could, when he scored that incredible looping shot over whichever Liverpool goalkeeper it was. But time is starting to catch up with him now. Age is starting to catch up with him. You cannot compare Vardy and Ronaldo, in my opinion. Ronaldo is still one of the world's greatest strikers.
But I'm saying, I'm not comparing them as in their skill-wise. I'm saying, what's going wrong with Ronaldo? Why is he not scoring as many goals?
Because of how we're being coached. Okay. Now, if you're going to come into this and say that there are the same issues with Leicester as there are United, then perhaps you can put that into the equation. But Rodgers is seen as being very tactically astute. He's seen as being very tactically up there. What's going wrong? I don't see that there would be a problem in dropping Vardy or at least Iheanacho or something and giving Daka an opportunity, because Iheanacho's not doing what.
Iheanacho was dropped yesterday.
Oh, was he? I thought. Did he?
So it was Lookman and Barnes.
Okay.
And so he didn't play a cam yesterday because he played 3 at the back. So you obviously lose out on that. It was very defensive with Samari and D.D. So like you said, he tried to balance Chelsea's formation.
If I'm honest, Leicester missed Tielemans yesterday. Yeah,
big time.
They missed him massively yesterday. That guy. Oh man, you're gonna hate.
He's their best player.
When he leaves at the end of the season, because he's leaving, mate. He's going to United. All right, he's going to United.
I thought Liverpool wanted him. I know who I'd want to go to, right?
I saw a tweet yesterday that he's either going to United, Liverpool, or Man City. So take your pick. But he's leaving at the end of the season. You need to be able to fill that gap. And again, you would have done anything to have had Kante back in your midfield yesterday, because that guy, he ruled the show. He was sensational from start to finish. Chelsea were just first to every.
He's the best in his position, no doubt.
He's the world's best. And I've got to just a special mention. Reece James, in my opinion, is the best right back in the Premier League this season. That guy is incredible. He is, for me, you know, people say Trent and Reece James are up there. For me, Reece James is up there more so than Trent. And the reason why is because Reece James can also defend. I don't believe Trent can. Obviously, that's a different discussion. But Reece James yesterday, brilliant. Chilwell, very good as well. He had a couple of opportunities to score, but he fluffed his lines. Chelsea, they were just all over Leicester yesterday. Do you think? Okay, well, I'm going to be controversial and make a prediction about.
You controversial?
Thank you. But where Leicester are going to finish this season, you're not getting top 4, and I don't think you're getting top 6. I think that Rodgers is on a very slippery slope. I think that his position is starting to become under question. And I think the only reason why he is going to still be in a job for the next couple of months is until United make that managerial position, because I don't think that the Leicester board want to sack Rodgers knowing full well that he could end up going to United straight away. I think that they'll wait for that position to be filled and then they'll sack him. I don't see Rodgers lasting the season if he doesn't start turning it around.
I mean, I haven't really said too much on Leicester yesterday, but I don't think we can judge them that much against Chelsea yesterday. Me personally, I think Chelsea are the best team in the league right now, just because of their sheer depth in positions. You know, they're missing both of their strikers at the moment, and they're still beating Leicester 3-0. So, like, Leicester are still a good team in my books. There's something missing at the moment, and it needs to change. But once it does, I'm sure they'll be back. Top 4, I think, yeah, it's going to be really tough to get in there. It's going to be between a few different teams, and any single one of them can get it. If Manchester United can manage to turn it around, they're still in the running. There's obviously Arsenal, if we can keep it up. Tottenham won today, they're still in it. And West Ham are on fire at the moment. I mean, they did lose yesterday. But, like, top 4 is a few teams. Top 6, whoever doesn't get in there is going to be in there, and one team will miss out. I just hope that it's not Arsenal. We need to be at least in the top 6 this year. Yeah. But, yeah, Leicester need to just, if they can figure out what's missing, and whatever it is, maybe it is Fofana being injured, maybe it's sorting out that front line. But top 4 is going to be tricky for a lot of teams, and whoever gets in there has earned their place for sure.
Yeah. So Tom, if you have the concluding marks of this segment, what do you think about Leicester's current situation and where they're going to end up?
I think Leicester have a lot in the locker. I think we've got Patson Daka we've talked about. Our squad is deeper. We've suffered with injuries. We've suffered with a few of the new players not quite having the start that they, Leicester needed them to have, which has really hurt us, especially at the start of the season. So we've started off quite badly for a number of reasons. But I think we've got enough in the locker. I think Brendan Rodgers, we've got enough with him for him to seriously turn it around. I think that when we've needed him, I know there's been times when people say he's a nearly man. He has won the FA Cup, but I think he's done enough to show us he can galvanise things. He's got passion. He's got such tactical knowledge. He's such a good player manager. He was at the Chelsea Academy from the early days. He's worked his way up as well. I mean, he's been in coaching early 20s. He knows his stuff. Like, if you can ever watch any podcasts on Brendan Rodgers, do it. Amazing tactical stuff, amazing philosophy.
It's all ever goes on about is these Leicester podcasts.
Yeah. Please, go on. Okay. You can find any Brendan Rodgers podcasts, do it. I think we've got a better squad than last season. I know other teams have got better squads too. That's a fair comment. But I think we've got enough to keep pushing for top 4. Top 6 as well, for sure.
It's definitely the push. The push is to get top 4. Yeah.
No, I hear you. So, to all the viewers that are watching right now, just let us know in the comments, kind of like where you think Leicester are going to end up. The whole Rodgers situation. Let me know whether you kind of agree with my stance that he's only in it because of the managerial position at United, but also let us know your thoughts in regards to Manchester United and the Ole situation as well. And also make sure that you're smashing the thumbs up button as well. So let's go on to Matt, your team, Arsenal. I want to start with this first question before you go into your analysis about Arsenal. Have Arsenal been overhyped recently?
No. I mean,
what?
Come on, we can't say we don't deserve our hype recently, because we have played well. We played excellent against Tottenham. We played excellent against Leicester, and then the other results. Like that last-minute goal from Laka in the Crystal Palace game. It's stuff like that makes a team have success, is the fight. So considering how poorly we started, to get where we are now, I think it's well-deserved hype. The the people that were thinking we were going to go into the Liverpool game and it was going to be a win, yeah, that was too much. That was just maybe a bit of a false hope. But yeah, I think it's deserved, and we'll see how it goes for the rest of the season.
Yeah, no, that's some fair points there. If I'm honest, I think they have been overhyped. I think that what I've been seeing on social media recently and some other channels on YouTube as well is like Arsenal are back. Arsenal are going to suddenly start pushing for the top 4. They could end up in a title race if all of the results go our way. And now I know that actually, you know, if things really did go your way, yes, for sure, you could be back in a title race. But the whole stuff around kind of like Ben White, Aaron Ramsdale, all of that stuff, I'm like, guys, it's flipping early days, man. Yeah. Ben White, I think that he had, from myself as well, he had a lot of unfair criticism to say that he's a £50 million player. It's very similar to the Harry Maguire situation. It's not his fault that he got priced at that much. It's not his fault that a smaller club wanted to get as much money out of him as possible, because that is what you do for one of your assets. I actually think that Ben White is a very, very good baller. I think that he's very good at taking that ball out of the back. But I also think that he has a lot of vulnerabilities as well, just like many centre-backs, because he's no Van Dijk. I don't think there's anybody is a Van Dijk. To be honest, I don't even think Van Dijk is Van Dijk this season. But, you know, I think there's a lot of unfair criticism. However, I also think there's a lot of overhypeness as well to say that this back 4 of Tomiyasu, Ben White, Gabriel and Tierney or Tavares, you know, is a sensational backline. No, it's been a few games. They've kept some clean sheets, but also look at the caliber of your opposition as well. And I know what you would say is about who's in front of you. You need to beat them, but you've also got to put things into context. If you can take on United and get a clean sheet, you know, given that hopefully we're going to have an upturn in form now, then maybe I might start having a little bit of a different stance. If you can go to those teams such as Brentford, and I know on the opening day you didn't have that back line, so
we didn't have the team, let alone the back line.
But if you can keep a clean sheet against them, knowing that they press really high, they're on you all the time, then fair play. But I do think that Liverpool kind of like put you in your place yesterday. They put you where you're at currently. You know, I just think that some Arsenal fans online, not you in particular, but some Arsenal fans online just need to settle down a little bit. Very similar to United fans, we just need to settle down a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, in argument to that, I mean, not even in argument, just in response, like, I think with us Arsenal fans, you have to just let us just have a bit of glory, because we have not had it for a long time. And, you know, when we finally see a team actually gelling and working, our backline last season in comparison to now, I mean, it's radically different. It's radically better this season. And you can see that in the consistency, you know, like last year, I mean, I don't know the stats, but I don't think we kept many clean sheets at all. And this season, you know, we've managed to keep the shots out. Aaron Ramsdale has made some pretty amazing saves, and I think he deserves all the credit for that. And yesterday against Liverpool, he made some amazing saves again. But once one goal's in against him, I think he loses his edge a bit, because he is all about that clean sheet. He cares so much about that clean sheet. And I think that was the downfall yesterday, is once one goal goes in, it's really hard to defend, especially against Liverpool, because once one goes in for Liverpool, they know that you're going to come at them and they'll destroy at the back. So yeah, it's another one of them really, like Leicester, Chelsea. I just thought Arsenal against Liverpool at Anfield, it was likely always to be a loss. I just wasn't hoping it would be that much of a loss.
Did Arteta get it tactically wrong yesterday? Did he try to go initially toe-to-toe too much with Klopp?
I thought he might have even tried to go for a back 3 with Tierney coming back into the team, and then, because obviously the threat for Liverpool, well, the main threat I would say is Salah down the right wing. But it turned out that Mane was more of a threat down the left yesterday. It's just, I don't know what else would have worked against Liverpool. We didn't really have many chances to attack. I mean, even in the first half, when we'd only conceded 1 goal, it was very much stemming the tide of Liverpool and trying, if anything, to hoof it up the pitch and hope that Aubameyang can press it. And then, in the second half, it was very much damage imitation. So I don't know what we could have done to change tactically. Like, our attacking wise, we played the exact lineup: Smith Rowe on the left, Saka on the right, and Laka in the middle, with Aubameyang up front. And it has worked for the other games. Just yesterday, we didn't even hardly get any chances to even get a shot on target. So,
but Matt, did you enjoy the tussle?
I mean, that was one of the main points I've got written down here. That tussle was great, but I'm not quite sure how it happened, because looking at what actually happened, I'm like, okay, so they both challenged for the ball, and Mane's arms about like flailing about a bit, but it didn't warrant such a massive tussle for me.
Yeah, I consider myself to be a professional in lip reading. All that I could see was Klopp going, What more do you want? What more do you want? And then Arteta's there going, hey, F you, he put his hands on him. So, I think for me that it showed passion, and that's what I wish that I had.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't knock the passion, and that's what's been lacking in Arsenal for the past few years is, does the manager care? Do the players care? And I mean, I thought Arteta cared before yesterday, but after seeing the passion that he showed yesterday in that, and then you can tell that the players are playing for him. I genuinely think they are, and maybe that's easy to say because we've had a good run of games. I'm hoping that we can turn it around in the next game and carry on and run again. I did check, we go to Old Trafford. So that'll be a very interesting game to see if, we've turned it around. We beat you at Old Trafford last year, just reminds you.
We had only
well, you love Michael Carrick this year, so.
Hey, Gadaki. Yeah, I think that's a fair analysis, but I just think that for me, Liverpool are starting to click now. They're starting to click now, and when Liverpool start to click, they start to show frightening form. I think the only downfall of Liverpool is that defensively they're not that solid. I think that every team, including United and including Arsenal, have managed to get some chances against them, and had they taken those chances, their defensive frailties would start to kind of come to the surface more than what they are now. Mm-hmm. However, as long as they keep banging them goals in, they're going to be absolutely fine. But I think Liverpool are starting to be worked out a little bit as well. But for me, their front line, they're still doing it. I still think that they're going to be right up there with Chelsea and Liverpool. It's refreshing to see. Probably going to be a 3-horse race for the majority of the season, and that's quite exciting. So that's kind of like my thoughts on them. But Tom, what do you think? Are Liverpool showing that championship winning form?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'm a Trent. I mean, I like Trent. He's in my FPL.
Same.
Had a good week. Thank you. I think I'm top again. Of the league because of Trent. But I think, they've got the right formula. Big time. But I tell you what, look at the Aston Villa game. Look what Aston Villa did to them. That's still possible. It's still going to happen to them.
Especially with Stevie G in charge.
Oh, man, I can't wait.
That's going to happen. I'm not saying Aston Villa are going to beat them again by that much, but I'm saying you're right about the Liverpool frailties in the defence. They love to push up. Trent Alexander loves to push up, but sometimes he leaves so much space behind him. And there's, I think there's going to be more upsets this season. There's going to be so much upsets. There's been loads of upsets already, but I mean,
I think that this season is going to be one of the lowest points tallies of the winners. I think that there are going to be many teams that take points off of the top 3. I think Chelsea are still going to lose more. I still think Man City are going to get beaten, and I do think that Liverpool are going to get beaten as well. So that's why I'm saying I think it's going to be one of the lowest points tally of winning the league, but I think it's going to be one of the closest that we have as well. So it'll be really, really interesting. So again, viewers, just let us know your thoughts in regards to Arsenal, Liverpool. Where do you guys think that they're going to end up? Do you think that Liverpool are going to be the champions? If they are, why? If not, why? And also be smashing that thumbs up button as well. So if we just briefly touch upon Tottenham versus Leeds. For me, Tottenham, they're just that club, man. They're just that club where they're like, I don't know why I hate them, but I do. I don't know why why it's happening. And then I think I watched the first half and I was just like, you are crap. Like, you're really bad. And then I consider the Conte effect. Yeah. Conte got them in at halftime. He started spouting off at them and they come out and they start ripping it up in the second half. Is that what they're going to be? Are they going to be a second half team? Are they going to be very similar to what United were last season? That they go a goal behind and then boom, they start turning it on. What do you guys think of Tottenham?
Hard to say at the moment because it is Leeds, and we know that Leeds leave quite a few too many holes at the back.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, first half Tottenham weren't doing anything. Harry Kane hardly on the ball again. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with Tottenham and Conte. I would still consider him in the mix to get top four, just because you usually have an upswing once a manager takes over, especially somebody with the prowess of Conte. But yeah,
I mean,
they'll be there or thereabouts, but I don't think they're going to be a major threat this season. See what happens. Well, I mean, we'll see what happens in January transfers, but yeah, I don't see Tottenham bringing any massive player to come in and change that team up. See.
Yeah, I mean, unless Conte is the right man to turn around some of those players who are just, I mean, Kane, he's going to want to have a good season now. He's going to want to impress. I don't know what he wants to do, if he wants to stay at Tottenham, presuming he wants to get going.
I think that ship might have sailed now.
Do you think he's going to stay?
I think he'll go to Newcastle.
Newcastle. Yeah. Oh, they got the budget now, yeah.
You never
know. That would be so good, man.
Yeah. But for me, I'm just like, Tottenham, you don't deserve that stadium. That stadium is incredible, and I'm like, they just don't play that football that those fans deserve. Maybe they're gonna surprise us all. Conte's gonna start ripping it up, but from what I saw today, I'd be worried as a Spurs fan. I think, fair play to Conte. I think that he needs to be given that January transfer window. Levy apparently has promised him 250 million. He's going to go into the Italian league. He's going to start taking some of those Inter Milan players if they don't get their contract sorted out, and he'll bring them to the Prem. So maybe we'll be having a different conversation at the end of the season. But I just think Tottenham are just a flip-flop team. They'll have a good run, they'll go down. They'll have a good run, they'll go down. Not like get relegated, but they'll start dropping down the table, and then suddenly they'll be coming up again. So that's just kind of like my whole thought around them. I don't really have any sort of feeling towards them other than they just annoy me. I don't even know why. I think it's unfair that I feel like that, but they just annoy me.
Maybe you're an Arsenal fan in disguise.
No, that would never be possible, even on Halloween. So in regards to Man City Everton, so there was a 3-0 win for the noisy neighbours, as we would call them, but they've probably overtaken us over the last few years. But we'll still always be the biggest team in Manchester. But just in regards to Man City versus Everton, what were your guys' thoughts on the game?
Well, my first thought was, who the flip is, what's his name? Cole Palmer. Never heard of him.
Yeah, mate, he's one of their youth team products.
Fair play to him.
Yeah,
for getting into the team. I mean, they haven't got a striker, so they have, but they don't like him. Poor Gabriel Jesus.
But sometimes Guardiola puts him out on the right and stuff, don't he?
Yeah. We had Sterling playing on the right apparently this week.
Gets a goal.
And Cancelo's cross,
just
absolutely insane. Everton, I don't know what to think about Everton because they had a good start, but
yeah, mate. But for me, Benitez is past it now. Benitez is past it. I think he's kind of got the same sort of makeup and caliber as Jose Mourinho. Back in their day, they were probably two of the best managers on the planet. You never forget kind of like what Rafa did for Liverpool and stuff. But yeah, he went to Newcastle and did well. Then he went off to China. But I think that China's probably his level now. I don't think that he's cut out for the Premier League, and I think that that's starting to come to the surface in regards to his managerial position at Everton. Everton, who knows?
If they don't get some results quickly, he could be the next to go because obviously the fans already hate him.
True.
He might have won a few over with the results he got at the start of the season, but if they don't get a few results quickly, obviously being the ex-Liverpool manager coming into Everton was always going to be tricky. But again, Manchester City, great team. Everton were never going to beat them, in my opinion.
Yeah. What about you, Tom? What do you think of Man City Everton?
I enjoyed the game. I love the pressing, the quick passes that you can always expect from Man City. I love that they brought some youngsters on, and you know what? It wasn't like some youngsters that just come on and they're like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" They're like got down to it straight away. That what's that name? James McAtee came on right at the end, last few minutes. He came on doing his dribbling. Ball was literally stuck to his foot. It was just entertaining to watch. It was just a bit refreshing to see some youngsters who are very daring. So Man City, they got loads of tricks up their sleeve. Their squad, I mean, we all know how good their squad is. But I mean, it was a little glimpse of the stuff they've got lined up in their academy. So
for me, Man City are the favourites for the title. Chelsea are great, Liverpool are great, but when it comes to kind of over those 37 games, Man City are the ones that kind of they just pull it out. I mean, I'd be happy if Man City didn't win the league. I'd be happy if Liverpool didn't win the league. I'd be content if Chelsea went on and won it. But I just see it. I just see it's got Man City's name written on it again because they've got players like Cancelo who can just pull something out of the bag, put a ball in, and it gets smashed in. I think that there's only so much we can say about Man City before it starts getting boring because they're that team that you just want to beat. They're just that team that you just want to beat.
I mean, they've also got another shot at buying a striker in January. And if they get somebody really decent, then they'll be even good.
I'd be interested to see what they could do with the youth though, because they've got I think his name's Liam Delap as well. They've got this Palmer and they've got Liam Delap, so they've got two youth strikers there that could perhaps do something for them. And Guardiola's the sort of manager that will give them the opportunity. If they're good enough, then they can play. It's almost like Guardiola has that almost Fergie mentality. If you're good enough, your age is just a number. Let's get you into the team. I think what really helps as well is that he always has the youth around the first team setup. And I think that that's so essential for their development. So maybe that's why they're not so starstruck when they're given their opportunity. I think there's so much kind of positivity that you can say about Man City before it gets boring. So let's move on from that. But again, viewers, let us know your thoughts in regards to all of the games that have happened this weekend. So just to start kind of wrapping up this week's video, if we all take just 30 seconds or so just to start giving our thoughts and considerations in regards to the manager of the week, the manager flop of the week, the player of the week, and the player flop of the week. So let's start with the manager of the week. Tom, who is your pick and why?
Manager of the week, Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he just he had that tussle, right? Back to the classic tussle, and Mikel Arteta on one hand, Jurgen Klopp on the other hand, and they're coming at each other. People stopping them. They probably wouldn't have done anything, but the passion was there, and it got it got the crowd bouncing at Anfield. It got them bouncing, and that's what changed the game, I thought. And Jurgen Klopp knows that. He knows how to play that crowd. He knows what the crowd want to see. He knows what they want to hear. And I thought that bit of passion that they saw from him, I thought Mikel Arteta's passion was very clear as well. And that was, I don't know, that could be seen as a good thing. But I thought that was a bit of that's when the game really changed for that. So I thought not only his tactical choices, but his passion and the way he is, So that's my choice.
Matt?
I'm going for Claudio Ranieri. Because they were definitely not favourites going into that game. I mean, they were at home, but they knew that Manchester United needed a win. They knew that Ole needed a win. He knew it. And he had that team psyched up. They were ready to go from the kickoff. They were coming at you. And that's got to be down to him. So to get a 4-1 result against Manchester United, that's for me is deserving. Because you could say any, but Manchester United are a big team and Watford are not. And they got a great result. So I'm going for Ranieri.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I did consider Ranieri, and I'm also maybe my bias towards him was that kind of like he inevitably got Solskjaer sacked. But I think I'm going for Guardiola, man. There's just something about the guy. He just reminds me so much of Fergie, giving his youth team players an opportunity, just literally getting the best out of his players all of the time. He's tactically just outrageous, and his players just love him and his approach. I mean, can you actually imagine what he would be like to live with? If you were one of his kids and they're like, I don't want to do my homework. And he'd be like, I don't care. You can love me or you can hate me, but you're still going to do your homework. I can just imagine that's what he's like to live with. The guy's unreal. I think he's brilliant. And he's certainly my manager of the week as well, because he's just so consistent as well. And I think that's really important to look at. What about your manager flop of the week? Matt, let's go to you.
It's got to be Ole. And I'm only saying that because this is the last time I can.
Yeah.
No. Poor guy. We've already discussed him. But, yeah.
I mean, there's only so much you can say about him. We've had that conversation, but yeah, no, your thoughts are valid. Tom, sorry, what are your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, Ole too. At the end of the game, Bruno Fernandes kind of went to the crowd and said, it's us, it's not him. But, I mean, the players are clearly they're not putting their lives on the line for him. They're not running for him. They've lost something for him. And you got to feel sorry for him to some degree. But, I mean, he had that game to turn it around, to do something, to pull something back, and he didn't.
Yeah, no.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it pains me, but I'd probably say Ole as well. I literally feel heartbroken. I feel like my childhood is just been not ruined, but it's like you get that guy from your childhood, and then he's in your present day, and you just want the best for him. You just want to see him succeed. And he's such a genuinely nice guy as well. And then his interview at the end, okay. He smiles and he goes, I'm sorry for smiling. He clearly sees what's said on social media, because there's always memes about him smiling and stuff.
I don't think he can help smiling,
Yeah, he's just a naturally nice guy. And today, when he had left Carrington, he stopped for a fan, gave him a hug, all of that. You will not find another manager like that. You won't. But in terms of being a flop, yeah, he is. He's got things wrong. For me, Ole is when you've got a teacher at school and you think you're quite pally with him, yeah? You don't really respect his authority, because he's kind of you feel like you're on the same level as him and stuff like that. You feel like you could hang out with him and things. And then he starts to change a little bit and starts to try and put his authority on you. And then you're like, wait, what? I'm not listening to that. I feel like that's the sort of relationship that he has with the players. So yeah, I'd say Ole because of how it's turned out, but I love the guy. But I'd also kind of if it wasn't Ole, but I'd bloody say Arteta. I think he's a defo close one. I just think that he's overhyped as well. I just don't think he's tactically that good, and I think he got it all against Liverpool wrong. If it wasn't for Ramsdale, you were losing that game 8-0. I think he just got everything wrong. I mean, he's certainly got potential. I'd say tactically he's better than Ole. I think Arteta is a coach, but as part of that, I think that Arteta should receive more criticism than Ole, because Ole's not a coach. He's even admitted that he doesn't do the coaching. Arteta does for Arsenal. So that's my thoughts in regards to that. But I think we can all agree that Ole is that guy. Player of the week, I'm going to go for João Cancelo. I think that he is just insane, man. For a fullback, like, he can play right and left back. He can just play those blindsided passes. He's sensationally fast. He can score. You know, he's so open to sort of like Guardiola's approach. I just think he's going to keep getting better and better and better. So that's why he's my player of the week, because he can just turn something into, he can turn nothing into something.
Yeah, it was either him or N'Golo Conte. Just doing what he does best, and got a goal this week, which is quite rare for him. But yeah, that Cancelo assist was just out of this world.
Yeah. Tom?
Yeah, Cancelo all the way too. I watched that game today and just thought, wow, he's a complete package, isn't he?
Yeah.
What more could you ask for?
Plus he got me some major FPL points as well. Like, I've done so well again this week. Last week I did great. This week I've done even better. Cancelo, Reece James, and Trent all got me great points. So yeah, Cancelo, I think we can all agree on. Player flop of the week. What do we think, Tom?
There's two players that I've got in my mind. Well, Maguire won for that tackle. It was a nasty tackle, right? Didn't that exact point they needed Maguire to deliver for him. He did this really nasty tackle, got sent off. So it has to be Maguire for me. Still like Maguire. I still remember his time at Leicester fondly, but he's not having a great time at the moment.
No, definitely.
Who was your other player?
Fernandes. That terrible back pass and just missing, and just not delivering today when they needed him.
Yeah, true. I mean, I'm going for Maguire as well, just because coming off the back of that. I mean, he got 2 goals on internationals, and that really overly cocky celebration that he shouldn't have done, and then followed up with getting sent off, your team captain. So Harry Maguire.
No, absolutely. I think I'd agree with you. But for me, it's a battle of the two Harrys. I think between Harry Kane and Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire, clearly, he's just lost his head a little bit. I think that he should have the captaincy taken away from him. I don't think he is that captain material. I think he needs to focus on himself and his game, as I said earlier. But for me, it's got to be Harry Kane. This guy, it's like he's been swapped out for his cousin Barry Payne. Okay, like he's just a completely different player, and I don't see him rediscovering his lethal form. Okay, go score all you want against a team like San Marino, who are literally like, they're the equivalent of a Conference South team here in England. Yeah, that for me. So the Prem at the moment is clearly too tough for him. Whether his head has been spun by all of that talk about going to Man City and he's very disappointed, move on, mate. Get over it. You're being paid absolute bucket loads. You're playing in a beautiful stadium. You've got some great fans, all of that stuff. Just be grateful for what you have. Get that goal scoring form back, and then maybe you'll get your move again. You'll have that opportunity. Don't sign a new long-term contract. It's very simple. But yeah, can he fit into Conte's plans? I just don't know. And for me, he just didn't do anything to affect the game today. And you think that, Harry Maguire is this England talisman. He's probably going to obliterate the England goal scoring record. But if you try and dare to compare Rooney and Harry Kane is right down there. Rooney is right up there because he had so much more to his game. I cannot recall Rooney ever going through a period like this where people were questioning his ability. It's certainly happening with Kane, and Kane needs to start to turn it around, or the guy's going to find himself on the bench, because I don't see Antonio Conte kind of putting up with this with this play at the moment. But and then you can also argue kind of like his influence on Son as well. Those two are great together when they're firing, but you know,
I think there's a disconnect between Kane at Tottenham and Kane at England.
Definitely.
At England, Kane has something to play for. You know, he's going for that record.
Yeah.
Which is why he doesn't want to be taken off. He wants to start every game. He wants to get as many goals as possible. That is going to be Kane's legacy. I mean, I think he's going to break the record. And what's he going to do at Tottenham? Probably not a whole lot.
Yeah.
He's got to be careful. He needs to start scoring some goals, and I don't want him to, obviously, because Tottenham. But I think Conte is going to sign a new striker in January, somebody that can challenge for that role. And like you said, if Kane doesn't start scoring some goals, he'll be warming the bench.
Yeah, absolutely. No, for sure. And that's the thing. It's what frustrates me is that Tottenham have so much potential. You look at their attacking line, Son, Kane, Lucas Moura, you Bergwijn, they've all got that ability there. And then you bring Conte in, he should be able to get the best out of them. And then, if they go and sign a player like Martinez from Inter Milan, obviously there's that connection with Conte. Perhaps he might start bringing it out Kane. I think Kane knows that he's safe. That's the problem. Who is actually rivaling him for his starting position? No one currently. And that's what...
no one currently, yeah.
All right, so if we just quickly go through our next week's predictions, literally like 30 seconds. Matt, I'm going to start with you. Arsenal versus Newcastle. What's the finished score going to be?
2-0.
2-0. Okay. Tom, Arsenal, Newcastle, what's going to be?
I think 2-1.
So
Arsenal.
Okay.
Yeah, mine's Arsenal as well, yeah.
I'm going for 1-0 to Newcastle. Okay, the reason why is that it's going to be the Eddie Howe bounce. Yesterday, Eddie Howe wasn't on the bench because he's had COVID. If he's recovered in time, he's going to be on that bench. I actually rate Eddie Howe really, really highly. He's a proper, decent, solid coach, and I think that he's potentially going to get something. And that's why I'm going to go 1-0 Newcastle. However, the brain in me is telling me that Arsenal are going to smash Newcastle. To be honest, so I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal
are going to have to do a lot to keep a clean sheet, like a lot.
Definitely. So I won't be surprised if Arsenal smash them. I just think Newcastle could get that new manager bounce and take those 3 points. Okay, Tom, Liverpool, Southampton. What's the score going to be?
They both like to leave a lot of space. They both like to attack, leave a lot of space in defence. I'm saying it will be Liverpool. I think 3-1. 3-1 to Liverpool.
All right, Matt?
Yeah, I could see Southampton scoring. I think Liverpool will underestimate them and maybe leave it a bit too open. Southampton might even get the first goal, and then I think Liverpool will probably win 3-1, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Southampton is such an unpredictable team. I think that they're ready for a drubbing. There's always a period of time over the last 2 seasons where they've had 9-0 losses. They had that one against Leicester and they had last season against United. I'd say Liverpool are going to absolutely tonk them. I'm going to go for 9-0 again. I think that they're...
Wow.
No, I think that Southampton, they are. It's this time of year they're going to get smashed, and I see them. I see Salah getting a few more goals. That's going to take them towards that golden boot. I see Mane putting some in. I reckon Jota's going to be in there as well. Wouldn't be surprised if Van Dijk has a really good game. Yeah, I think it's going to be a really big scoreline. Maybe not as big as 9-0, but I just think it's going to be a draw.
What, Van Dijk hat trick? Is that what you're going for, Nick?
No, definitely not. But a goal or 2 from a corner would.
Put a bet on Southampton to lose 9-0.
I will. I'll see what the return will be. Okay, so Burnley Tottenham. I think Burnley they're a bogey team for a lot of teams. I'm going to go because from those set pieces, that Sean Dyche, he's like, all right, boys, get us a corner, We'll put it in Tarkowski. Get your head on it.
Did you put Tottenham Burnley in just so you could do an impression?
No, because Tottenham is traditionally a big 16. Yeah, so I'm gonna go 2-2. I reckon it'll be 2-2.
I'm going ball draw, 0-0.
Ball draw, yeah, likely. Tom?
Yeah, I mean, I think Conte, the first thing he's going to do at Tottenham is sort that defence out, and I think it's to be quite a defensive game. I think it's going to be, we know Burnley can defend as well. They can keep a very tight structure. I think 1-1.
Okay. Tom, we'll start with you on this one. Man United, Chelsea.
Wow. I'm going to say Chelsea 2, Man United 0.
I thought you were going to say 4 then. Yeah. All right, Matt.
9-0.
To Man U.
I don't know. So Chelsea are going to win. United they're going to come. They are going to come for Chelsea, but Chelsea defensively are just, Mendy by himself, just an insane keeper. But Chelsea will feel Manchester United's comeback full force because they need to turn it around. So I'm going for 2-1 to Chelsea.
Okay. If Carrick uses his brain and plays our second half team, okay, that we played against Watford, I could see us beating Chelsea, okay? I could see us getting a 2-1 win or a 1-0 win. So if he plays with Van der Beek and Sancho in their relevant positions, Sancho is given, opportunity to play to his full strength, getting that ball in. Okay, what anyone says, Thiago Silva is not the player that he used to be. Christensen is not that player. Rudiger, I still don't think that he can live with Ronaldo in the air. Sancho gets those balls into Ronaldo. He's going to do things. However, with Varane not playing, with Maguire not playing, that means we have to rely on Lindelof and Eric Bailly. Eric Bailly proved against Man City that he is so irrational. He's just so crazy when he's playing, like these kung fu kicks. He's throwing himself at everything and then an own goal. So because of that, I think Chelsea will beat us, but I don't know by how many. And I'm also worried that because we still have the current coaching setup that we had with Solskjaer, minus Solskjaer, is those same decisions will still be made. So they'll still go with McFred. They'll still go very defensive. They won't play Van der Beek. They won't play Sancho. Greenwood will be back. There'll be no cohesion, no structure, and we'll get tonked again. But the hope in me says that United are going to win 2-1. The logic in me suggests that it's going to be a 1-0 win to Chelsea or a 2-0 win to Chelsea. I just can't see us keeping a clean sheet because we don't have Varane or Maguire. If we had Varane, I'd say that we were likely to get a draw, if not a win. But we're kind of all over the place. But hopefully it is going to be that new manager bounce and we're going to get something. But I'm really indecisive. I'd love it if we win, but, I guess I'm just going through that roller coaster of emotions where I just can't see past Ollie at the moment. But yeah, it is what it is. And so finally, Leicester versus Watford. I'm going to go with I'm going to stick with Watford winning, I'm going to stick with that. I think that Rodgers has had his head turned by all of the United speculation, even if he doesn't end up at United. And I think that the players are starting to feel that as well. They are all on social media. They will all see all the hype and all of that. So I'm going to say that Watford are going to get a 1-0 or maybe 2-1 victory. Matt?
It's going to be an interesting game for sure. Leicester coming off a loss, knowing that they need a win, and Watford are going to be buzzing with that win against United. So they know they can attack. Both teams have got plenty of pace. So I think it's going to be a high scoring game. We had a few high scoring games yesterday. This could be like 4-3. I'm going to go 4-3 to Leicester. Okay. It's just end to end, goals.
Yeah. Tom?
Ranieri knows how to be the underdog, right? He knows how to win as the underdog. So,
and he's returning to Leicester.
And he's returning he's returning. He's going to get a big welcome, I think. I think it will be a high-scoring game too. I think Leicester will really I reckon they're going to have a new system. I reckon they're going to have. I don't know what Brendan's going to do. I'm excited to see actually, but I think it's Brendan versus Ranieri, and I think Brendan's going to come out on top. I think it's going to be 3-2 to Leicester.
I like that. I think it's a bit of wishful thinking, though. Okay, yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, boys. So pleasure to have this conversation today. So viewers, let us know what your predictions are for all of the relevant fixtures. If we haven't mentioned your team, like Brighton, West Ham and things like that, don't worry. At some point, we will get around to discussing those sort of teams as well, especially when they're playing some of the top 6 clubs. So do smash a like on this video if you have enjoyed it. Subscribe to our channel and also drop us a comment in the comment section below, letting us know your thoughts and considerations to all of the action that has happened this weekend. Matt, final thoughts. How have you found today's podcast?
It's been great. I mean, it's the first one. We're still getting used to it, but I just love talking about football. So yeah, it would be great if we get some feedback on how we've done, and if you can watch it and share it and just help us to get this channel out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Tom, your final thoughts?
Yeah, it's been a good chat. I hope everyone watching has enjoyed it as much as we have. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, great team. Friends.
Yeah.
Friends. Yeah, awkward turtle. Okay, and we're going to start doing some live streams at some point as well. We're probably especially going to do a little live watch along when it's United versus Arsenal as well. And we're going to play around with some of the graphics and things like that. See what sort of other streaming platforms that we can use and stuff like that too. So we welcome your feedback. So let us know in the comment section below, and follow us on our various social medias of Twitter, usually what we use. So we've got Matt_House and just Nick Barwick as well. So follow us along there, and we will see you guys next week. Thanks, guys.
Bye.